The lantern flickers against the damp walls, throwing restless shadows across faded green wallpaper patterned with curling vines. Amara kneels near a low vanity, the wood cracked, its surface littered with glass bangles and a half-empty bottle of rose oil. She traces a line in the dust, listening to the distant hum of carriages rolling over wet cobblestones outside. Somewhere down the alley the evening market is closing. Hawkers call their last sales before melting into the night. A bell rings softly from the stairwell. Her heart skips. The bell always means someone has arrived. She straightens, pulling a worn silk shawl across her shoulders. Madame Rosalind glides into the room with her usual quiet authority, a red shawl draped around her, eyes sharp, voice a whisper. Another officer. Don't meet his eyes until he speaks. Amara nods. She has heard this a dozen times, but her hands still tremble. She tucks her hair behind her ear and waits. The front door creaks. The heavy footsteps of boots echo on the wooden floorboards. She imagines them, polished shoes dark with rainwater, the sharp scent of tobacco and whiskey clinging to wool coats. Lotus House hides in plain sight, a discreet townhouse along a narrow Calcutta street, outwardly just another colonial residence, inwardly a world of velvet curtains, perfumed air, and secrets that could ruin lives. Tonight the air smells of sandalwood and smoke. Through the parlor comes a wave of hushed laughter and the soft chime of glass. British officers loosen their uniforms as they step out of the damp night, shaking off the weight of the empire for a few hours. Some sink into chairs, some take the hands of girls in pastel saris with lace blouses, guided by giggles and the promise of forgetting. A gramophone croons an old waltz, crackling and soft. Captain William Hartford leans against the wall, a cigarette between his fingers. His face is young, but his eyes are already tired, too familiar with the taste of authority and boredom. He notices the new girl when she enters the parlor, her bangles glinting in the lantern light. Amara feels the weight of his gaze but keeps her own lowered as instructed. "Good evening, Sahib. Would you like some tea?" she says, her voice steady but fragile. He hesitates for a moment before answering. "You're new." His voice is soft, almost a whisper against the waltz. He nods for tea and she moves with careful grace, her shadow long across the rug. Around them, the night unfolds in familiar rhythms. Coins exchange hands behind curtains, girls laugh too loudly at English jokes they only half understand, and somewhere upstairs a creak of a bed frame is swallowed by the gramophone's hum. Time becomes strange in Lotus House. The hours are soft, perfumed, and heavy with unspoken things. Lila, older and knowing, finds Amara by the back vanity between visitors. "He's drunk already. Easy coin tonight," she says with a smirk. But Amara's mind wanders. "How long," she asks, "before it stops feeling strange?" Lila shrugs, running a comb through her hair. "It never does. You just stop thinking about it." Outside, the city of Calcutta exhales its secrets into the night. Rickshaws creak past. The Hooghly River glimmers under the moon. The brothel feels like another country, cut off from the world, where soldiers come not as conquerors but as men trying to shed the armor of their own names. William comes often now, not for the usual reasons. He teaches Amara English words in whispers: moon, freedom, beautiful, and she repeats them carefully, tasting them like forbidden fruit. In quiet corners they share simple meals, rice and lentils eaten with their fingers while the rest of the house burns itself out in wine and laughter. He asks if she ever dreams of leaving. She smiles faintly. "All the time. But outside no one knows my name." He looks down at his drink. "Neither does mine," he says softly. The house lives by unspoken rules. Rosalind counts coins in the secret room beneath the floorboards, a lantern glowing over her ledgers. Names, dates, payments, all written in her neat hand. Some names are underlined twice. High Commissioner Edward Carlyle. Weekly visits. Confidential. The power of this ledger could shatter the facade of every smiling officer who steps through her doors. She closes it quickly whenever footsteps sound above. The world outside is changing. Rumors travel through alleys and whispered conversations. A government crackdown, scandals too large to ignore. One humid night the illusion breaks. Doors crash open. Boots thunder against the floorboards. Shouts of constables fill the hall as lanterns swing wildly. Girls scream and scatter, diving behind curtains and under tables. Lila grabs Amara's hand, pulling her into the shadows, but the house is a maze of panic. Officers in uniform swarm the parlor, their faces grim. William appears at the doorway, tense and pale. "This house is under my protection," he shouts, but his authority falters against official orders. One constable drags Lila into the hall as she kicks and curses in Bengali. Rosalind moves like a ghost, shoving the ledger into Amara's arms. "Take it," she hisses. "If they find this, we are finished." Amara slips into the crawlspace beneath the floor, heart hammering. Through thin slats, she sees the chaos above. Soldiers appending furniture, girls weeping, Rosalind defiant but cornered. The ledger is heavy in her hands, not just with paper but with the weight of every secret this house has held. Hours later, the house is silent. Dawn breaks over the Hooghly, painting the river in pale gold. Amara slips out into the mist, barefoot, carrying the ledger wrapped in her shawl. The city is waking slowly, unaware of the small revolution in her arms. William waits by a carriage, eyes hollow, uniform rumpled. He holds out a hand. "Come with me. We can leave tonight." She pauses, looking at the ledger, then the rising sun. "This is my freedom," she whispers. She walks past him, her feet cold on the cobblestones, vanishing into the fog. Years pass. 1910. A Calcutta newspaper carries a headline: "Former brothel girl exposes secret network of British officials." A grainy photograph shows Amara, older and composed, standing beside Indian suffragists. Lotus House is gone, replaced by a textile shop. The alley is quiet, but the river still remembers.